Welcome back to another Monday edition here with Tyvis Powell, and it's Penn State week. I mean, that's crazy to say this was supposed to be 1 versus 2, a national championship matchup, and instead it's probably not even in the top 5 games on people's radars this week. It certainly is for Ohio State. They're treating this game, Ryan Day said to me right after the Wisconsin game, just like this is the same number 1 team, number 2 team in the country. Do you think that this Penn State team is still very talented? I mean, where do you kind of pin them when you look at all the teams Ohio State's played?
I mean, I think that when you look at it, yeah, they still got a lot of talent on that team. Drew Aller going down hurts it a lot. It really does. And, you know, a lot of people thought highly of him. Some people didn't. But at the end of the day, he was a guy that some NFL teams saw as a first-round talent. When he's not there and now you're going with a younger quarterback who hasn't played a lot, it takes a lot of the juice away from this game. Now, they still got 2 NFL running backs. They got some playmakers on the outside. Obviously, they went in the portal and got these guys. So maybe they're going to try to play their best game against the Buckeyes. That's just going to happen. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Penn State historically has always been a top-notch program when it comes to that defense. Getting Jim Knowles brings a storyline to it. I mean, he was just in the building. He understands what Ryan Day and Brian Hartline is trying to do offensively, so he's going to try to do everything he can to deteriorate that and stop that from happening. I still think it's going to be a really good game. I mean, obviously, it lost the juice because James Franklin is not going to be there. But I think talent-wise, those guys are going to play hard because this is their Super Bowl. This is their national championship. If they win this game, it's like, yay, Penn State. So they're going to try everything they can to do. They're going to do everything they can to win this game.
I just know when Jim Knowles steps off that bus, there's going to be 400 cameras just following him all the way to the field. It's,
as it should be.
How much of a benefit can that really be? Because we can sit here and say, well, he's been there for 3 years. He knows Ohio State. But, one, Brian Hartline wasn't the solo offensive, play caller.
But they also went against each other. Last year, before I think Chip Kelly got here, it was a time where Brian Hartline was calling plays in the spring. It was like a spring practice type thing.
And so how much is that really helpful, knowing that Jim Knowles, I mean, he saw a little bit of Julian Sayin. I saw, a year of Julian Sayin.
Yeah.
How much should Ohio State fans be worried that Jim Knowles knows inside info? Yeah, exactly. That's what
Not really, not a lot. I tell you what, this has happened a bunch at Ohio State. I recall when my coach, Chris Ash, left Ohio State to go be the head coach at Rutgers, right? So I ended up leaving and going to the NFL, but I came back and it was a panic when Ohio State was playing Rutgers because it's like, oh, he knows all of our stuff. We have to be on high alert. They were on pins and needles at the Woody. And then they got to the game and they completely wiped Rutgers and they realized.
Well, it was Rutgers.
It was Rutgers. So the same thing is probably going to happen when you think about this Penn State thing. Penn State has always played close. It's always been a good game over these past couple of years, but they're down. And that quarterback thing just makes a big difference. When you don't have that quarterback, it's hard to beat the Buckeyes. You think about some of the games that was even close for the Buckeyes is because those guys had really good quarterbacks. Luke Altmaier, Arch Manning, like DeMond Williams. Like those guys are actually really good. I'm not saying that Ethan Grunkmeyer is not going to be good because he's from Columbus. He's a local kid. I wish him the best. But I just think when you go up against that Ohio State defense, that's average. They're giving up 5 points a game, only gave up 4 touchdowns on the season.
We're in November.
Like, you asking for a lot out of this guy for his second start. Like, that's a lot to ask. So they're going to have to run the ball a lot.
It is absolutely crazy. We're in November. They've given up 4 touchdowns.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. Let's start with the Ohio State offense against this Penn State defense because we're already talking about Jim Knowles. The one thing that I think I don't know if it's concern because they've shown anything. The pass blocking has been exceptional this year.
Yeah.
Julian Sayin has been given a ton of time. It's allowed him to look like one of the best quarterbacks in the country, a Heisman front runner, although you don't agree with me on that because you're wrong. But when you look at that, does it worry you if teams start to pressure? We know Jim Knowles likes to blitz. Have we seen him challenged in that way? Do you think he'll be okay if he does?
I think teams are kind of scared to pressure Julian Sayin.
Because of what
you give it. Like, if you're going to pressure Julian Sayin, that means that's one less guy that's in coverage, which means that one of those guys on the outside is not double coverage, which then gives them a one-on-one situation. Like, you're going to lose every time. If Julian Sayin picks it up or that running back picks up that blitz or that protection slides correctly, you're leaving somebody on an island, and it's just so hard to ask of a corner to do that against Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate. Those guys are just elite. So I think that's why you don't see a lot of teams pressuring Ohio State, because they will make you pay.
All right. They have 4 running backs on this offense. And it's been interesting to watch, just like a slow, gradual, concerning rise. The people, it started like, hey, Bo Jackson's the guy. This is great. We figured it out. Donaldson's great. And then, like, as the weeks progressed, the fan base has slowly gotten more concerned about the run game.
Yeah.
And now here we sit in November. First off, your concern level, and I think more, I don't believe that you can have 4 running backs on one roster that actually play in a game. I think it slows down the momentum. I think it halts guys from getting in a game flow. Am I making all that up? Am I wrong there?
I think that it does stop guys from catching a rhythm for sure, but I also think that each one of these guys have their own skill set, and some games require speed, some games require physicality. You got 4 different guys that's willing to answer the bell on all of those things. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that is good because it's taking hits off those running backs' bodies. You talk about getting to late November or getting to December or the CFP. Like, if you could give me a running back that's fresh in that time and he's very productive, you take that. So right now they're still trying to figure out where they want to be in that run game. There's been moments where some running back has stepped up. I think it was Isaiah West the last game where he just came out of nowhere and just started hitting gashing plays. I don't have a problem. You're overreacting.
Okay, all right, that's fine. We'll get a little buzzer right here that says overreaction.
Every week it seems like that run game gets a tad bit better, and that's what you can ask for. As long as they can find a way to get over 100 yards rushing in each game, I'm cool with that.
I have long said that I think they're leaning on their areas of weakness to try to make them strengths by the end of the season.
That would be the smart thing to do, especially when you're
dominating these games. So yes, it's hard to judge. Actually, the level of concern. All right, the Penn State defense. Yes, they don't have Drew Aller. Drew Aller did not play defense, in case anybody. So this is still a national champion defense. This is still that preseason expectation defense, even one that played Oregon and was leading in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Take me through what the Nittany Lions do on defense that everybody should be looking for.
Well, it starts with the front. I mean, they got 2 guys, and on the edges that do a really good job of getting pressure on there. I mean, if you think about what Penn State has been these past couple of years, they've put a first-round pick in the league like for the past 3 years, I want to say. Abdul Carter, Michael Parsons, and Chop Robinson, those 3 guys.
Pretty good.
They were pretty good. So they're always going to have that type of pass rush. And that, if you can do that with just 4, rushing 4, that's going to be problems because now you can't double those guys on the outside if they're getting home with 4. So I think that's where we start. In the secondary, they got a couple of playmakers there, but there's nobody in the country, in my personal opinion, that could just take Jeremiah Smith out of the game. Like it just doesn't exist. Like, the guy's bigger than me, and you asking a corner, which typically their height is what, 5'11", 6 feet? Maybe? Like, you asking them to check this giant. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I think that in that situation, now you're forced to play zone. Now you're forced to play 2-man and have these 2 guys on the outside double covered, and that's what you're going to have to do. Now, how Jim Knowles is going to get to it is the question, because he was the master of disguise when he was here. I used to love to see some of the crazy disguises that he did. I don't know if you could play with fire like that, because as a DB, I'm going to tell you right now, in the secondary, the rule is the disguise cannot mess up your coverage. Your coverage overrules the disguise. If I have to be somewhere and I'm trying to disguise something and it's going to impact me getting to my responsibility, forget the disguise. Just go do it. So I think what's going to happen is Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate's going to make enough plays and they're going to be like, we don't care about no disguise. Line up in it, which then helps Julian Sayin figure out what they're in, and I think that's when the plays be made.
Do you think there's an alternate where Ohio State knows Jim Knowles so well that, Ryan Day is sitting there scheming up, and is he in a room thinking, okay, well, I know how he disguises this and how his base defense works and really what he does.
Yeah.
Can the Buckeyes utilize that?
I mean, yeah, if you work with a guy for, what was he, 3 years?
3 years.
You know the ins and outs of his defense, but he knows the ins and outs of your offense. And I think that whoever figures each other out first is probably going to get the upper hand. I'm not going to say that Ohio State is just going to go out there and just wipe the floor with Penn State. I mean, I think that Jim Knowles is going to have those guys ready to go. Obviously, I don't know how that relationship ended. A lot of people say that it ended sour between Ohio State and Jim Knowles. So if that's the case, he's going to be extremely motivated to try to get this done and try to make this game close. I just think that at the end of the day, Ohio State just got too much talent on that offensive side of the ball.
All right, on defense for the Buckeyes, take me through Ethan Grunkemeyer. I mean, a lot of us around here remember him at Olentangy. Well, I mean, what is it that he does best now since he's been with Penn State?
Well, he's going to have to use his legs. I mean, when you look at his passing stats, it's not the greatest. I think he was like 12 for 22 or something like that. It hasn't been great. I don't think he's thrown a touchdown in these past couple of games that he's played. So that's something that he's still got to get adjusted. I think the best thing for him is he's going to have to be able to use his legs. How can I extend the play? How can I, because once they do send pressure or once I do figure out the disguise, if I can extend that play and buy my receivers an extra second, that ultimately going to hurt the Buckeyes. I mean, we go through these past couple of weeks. You know, you think about the Illinois or you think about Washington, you know, what did they do? You know, Illinois did a really good job of using tempo and trying to go down the middle of the field. You know, maybe they run deeper development routes. They ran a 15-yard dig and, you know, other teams ran seam routes and things like that. So I think for Penn State, it's how can I hit that deep shot down the middle of the field at 15 to 20 yards? And asking Ethan Grunkemeyer to do that, you know, for 4 quarters consistently, that's a tough ask.
All right, Ohio State, Penn State. Give me you don't have to give me a score because it's Monday. You got time to figure that out.
The spread is 20.5.
That's just crazy. I mean, it checks out, but it's too crazy to where we were. I mean, I was told preseason. And I just want to say, and if you're listening to this far, I did not buy the Penn State preseason hype.
You didn't?
Oh, no.
I thought they did a really good job of following the recipe of the 2 national champions. They got their draft-eligible guys to come back, and they went into the portal, got one or two of the best receivers in the portal. I thought they did everything that they were supposed to do. At the end of the day, it was about the quarterback, and he failed them, in my personal opinion.
So there you go. Because my biggest thing is, we do this so often in college football. We take a good team, and the good team returns a lot of players. Yeah. But they're still just good players. They're not great players. And like Drew Aller wasn't magically going to come back and turn in.
They were saying he was a first-round pick.
That's because he's a quarterback in a Power 4 conference. You get to be a first-round pick nowadays.
I mean, if you can do that. He's also 6'5" with a big, strong arm.
But I don't, Aller's not going to play, so we're not going to rag on Aller. But I just never saw it with this Penn State team, and it felt exactly like I just don't think this offense with Aller, with Grunkemeyer, can move the football consistently enough to beat a dominant team like Ohio State at this point. I think we were proven right. They hung with Oregon there, which was impressive. They were leading against Oregon.
Well,
it did not work out.
It makes you think about Oregon a little bit. But I think that also
– Wisconsin they were up 7 on Wisconsin there for a long time.
I also think that the running backs kind of regress a little bit. I think that, you were expecting Nick Singleton. When he was a freshman, he was like a sensation. And I feel like every year it's just been kind of like going in a reverse order with him where he hasn't seemed like that dominant back to where Kaytron Allen looks like the more dominant guy. I mean, I think the stats tell you he's the more dominant guy there. So I think that they were going to be heavily utilizing that run game, and it just hasn't been what it was supposed to be. And then when you go to the portal and you get some of these guys out of the portal, typically it works. But for some odd reason, these wide receivers also wasn't creating that separation that you need to be successful. And I think that's why this thing has fallen to where it is, because you gambled and you missed.
They are who we thought they were. And you let them off the hook. All right, so what do we think? You think 21 points is probably about spot on with what happened Saturday?
I just don't see how they score. That's my thing. I understand how we can score, but I don't see how they score.
Very pivotal part of football, scoring.
They would have to really bully us in the trenches, because I think the only way they're going to score is if they run the ball effectively.
And I don't think.
And I just don't really see that right now.
I don't think Cade McDonald's going to let that happen.
Yeah, me
He's not a
either.
big fan of opposing running back.
Those linebackers that we have, it's hard for me to see it.
All right. He is Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam King. Keep it on 10 TV, 10 TV plus 97.1 The Fan for all your Buckeye coverage.